Alex Albon has been dubbed to be the next replacement for Sergio Perez in Red Bull, and a reunion of the old pair-up of the Austrian team could be happening as soon as 2025. With both of these drivers having their future hanging in the air, it's almost certain that Albon won't miss on the opportunity to drive for a competitive squad now that he's helped Williams get back on track with their car. But is he really the right choice along Verstappen? And more importantly, could Perez pull an ace out of his sleeve and join Mercedes from 2025 onwards? Lewis Hamilton's move has undoubtedly been one of the biggest bombshell moves that the sport has seen. But now that the dust has settled from his seismic transfer to Ferrari, which is set to earn him around 100 million per year, we must look at all the other drivers who are caught up in this storm. Two of those are Alex Albon and Sergio Perez, both of whom were highly present in the rumour talks about their future beyond 2024. But now that Hamilton's transfer opened up so many doors for them, it seems like these rumours won't stop anytime soon. The latest development of events indicates that Alex Albon could be making a return to Red Bull's family from 2025 onwards. After all, he's part of the Austrian team and is currently on a loan in Williams, as the team decided to hire Sergio Perez from the 2021 season onwards. And the Mexican did not disappoint one single bit in his debut season with the team. But once Red Bull became the best team on the grid, Perez found himself in a lot of unwanted situations, to the point of his reliability being questioned a lot as he's not consistent enough with cars of RB19's nature. So the question of him being replaced is definitely hanging in the air. Now, is Alex Albon the right choice for Red Bull? Obviously, he had to deal with the cruel environment that Red Bull had back in the day, and one that is very much persistent right now if your name is not Max Verstappen. The Thai driver took a year off in 2021 since he was sacked very late from the Austrian team and he had no time to look for another team, so he had to drive in the DTW series for one full year, and his comeback in Williams did not disappoint a single bit. In 2023, he almost single-handedly carried Williams to the 7th place in the Constructors' Championship, leaving only 1 point to his teammate Sargent and making it known to the big guys that he's here to stay and Williams is just part of his journey. Obviously, Ferrari had massive interest in signing Albon, and prior to the bombshell that Hamilton dropped on the entire grid, it was speculated that the Thai driver would replace Carlos Sainz from the 2025 season onwards. Now that this scenario has fallen into the water, the Australian F1 journalist Peter Windsor has reported about the situation in which Red Bull are very likely to bring Albon back as a strong backup of Verstappen in the following period. If we're to judge by proximate history, Red Bull won't be able to rely on Perez whenever Verstappen gets in trouble, and from 2025 onwards, Verstappen will be much more challenged for race wins and championships than he is right now. Therefore, what Red Bull needs is a stable number 2 driver who could deliver the results that are being asked of him, similar to what role Bottas served in Mercedes, and Albon has 2 choices. Accept this one, or go to Mercedes and try to win on his own in what seems to be a less competitive outlet for his liking. According to Windsor, the situation is 90% correct, and talks are currently taking place. As he elaborated, as I understand it, Albon has been offered a 3-year contract by Red Bull to start in 2025, so I think you're going to see him alongside Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. I can't imagine he's going to say no to it. As I understand, it's not 100% but 90% correct. There have been other reports that said this was all done deliberately by Albon's camp so that they would attract the attention of Mercedes' camp, as the Brackley-based squad are kind of desperate to find a very good driver with experience below its belt. And while Albon might not be the perfect suit, considering that drivers like Sainz and Alonso are competing for the spot, he definitely ranks high among the rest of the candidates. Albon has also fueled up these talks earlier in the season, as it seems like he couldn't get over the fact that he was replaced by Perez so late in the 2020 season, practically after it ended. In an interview with High Performance Podcast, Albon said that his performance in Red Bull was much better than what Perez did in 2023. And to top that off, this was the time in which Mercedes dominated the tracks, which was the second half of the 2019 season and the entirety of the 2020 season. Adding to this matter even further, Albon said, "I did better than Checo Perez at Red Bull. Max qualified 3rd or 4th, sometimes even 5th. Sometimes we would finish races, usually 3rd or 4th. So in some races, I would be maybe 3 or 4 tenths behind him." Where does this leave Perez? Obviously, AlphaTauri won't be a valid option because the newly rebranded outlet has a lot of hope for the upcoming season, as their new team principal Lauren Mekies said they would aim to compete in the upper midfield. which means fight with Aston Martin and Alpine. But with Tsunoda's future still being uncertain, even though he has proven he has his own values in the 2023 season, there could be a minimal chance that Perez could sit alongside Ricciardo and bring a lot of success to what was considered to be Red Bull's sister team a couple of months ago. Yet, this might not be a scenario that Perez would want to settle with. Obviously, the seat in Mercedes is very hot right now. And if there is one driver who knows a thing or two about the cars he's driven in the past couple of years, that's definitely Perez. He hasn't been able to extract the maximal performance out of it, that's for sure. But it doesn't mean he didn't know how a car should look and behave on the track, an experience that Mercedes will desperately need for the 2025 season. He'll also have an equal chance to beat Russell in the same machinery and potentially head into the 2026 season with a brand new mindset that could surprisingly put him in the championship fight. Although with Hamilton's move to Ferrari, it's obvious as to who will have the upper hand in fighting up front. According to Wolff, this is the time when the team needs to do something bold, which might include poaching an experienced driver from another team or maybe even promoting from within. And even though Albon does not have a contractual situation with Mercedes, he drives for their customer team of Williams, so technically he'll be receiving a promotion. Adding to this matter further, the Austrian went on to say, "I'm looking forward to taking on the challenge of replacing Hamilton with my colleagues. Maybe it's a chance to do something bold. If you told me 2 days ago that Lewis would go to Ferrari, I wouldn't have believed you. Things can change quickly. Contracts can change. Who knows what might happen in the driver market." But if rumours are to be believed, this is just another move from Albon's camp in order to raise the attention in Mercedes and put more attention to his name. But will it actually work? The Thai driver has some tough competition to beat, such as Fernando Alonso, and you cannot really compete with a guy who's won 32 races and 2 championships in his career, which could have easily been 3 or 4 if he had a bit more luck with Ferrari. According to the former F1 champion Jacques Villeneuve, the former teammate of Hamilton is likely the best choice for Mercedes, and if the team chooses to go this way, then Red Bull would have one more reason to consider Albon as the proper replacement for Perez. Adding to this matter even further, Jacques said, "I think Fernando Alonso will be chosen by Mercedes. That would be fantastic. Also because you cannot take another young driver like Russell, not at Mercedes. Toto will have his ideas. He's like Flavio Briatore. He has his drivers, he first sends them around, and then he brings them into the team." Obviously, Kimi Antonelli is a bit too young to be linked with Hamilton's seat, and even for a talent like Verstappen, it took 1 year of driving in a sister team of one of the big dogs before being promoted, so it's very unlikely that the Brackley-based squad would want to risk what they have with the youngster currently. If this is to be believed, then Alonso would continue his career for a couple more years in Mercedes, just in time when Antonelli could take up his seat once the time comes. And Albon's move to Red Bull might not be that far-fetched of a scenario after all. So, do you think Red Bull will chase the signature of their former driver, the one they replaced with Perez back in 2021? Let us know in the comments down below.